Friends, welcome to Mind and Intellect Conversations. Today is a special podcast with Dr. Maya. We are discussing on the concept of happiness. There are two motivations in everyone's life, either to experience happiness or to avoid sorrow. Anything and everything an individual does seem to be towards happiness. So today's podcast is a detailed analysis, understanding, and possibly we'll experience uninterrupted happiness.
Dr. Maya is the first Emirati woman with a doctorate in smart educational leadership and emotional intelligence. A trailblazer in leadership across the Middle East and North Africa, she's a proud member of the UAE Women's Gateway under the patronage of Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak. Named one of Dubai's 50 most influential figures of 2024, a national ambassador of positive digital citizenship, and selected among global creatives by the UAE Ministry of Tolerance, Dr. Maya's impact reaches far and wide. She's an acclaimed author, TEDx speaker, weekly columnist, and social media influencer with a strong presence across all major platforms. As chairperson of Dubai Carmel School, she's reshaping education, and with over 1,100 training hours for UAE government staff and 2,200 emotional intelligence consultations, her leadership is personal and powerful. From the Children's Reading Festival to launching her own abaya brand, Dr. Maya leads with purpose, passion, and presence.
Welcome, Dr. Maya. It's wonderful to have you here, and it's nice to see you after a while.
You're so kind, Sri. Thank you so much. Call me Maya. I think it's easier because we're friends, so
right.
we know each other for quite some time.
Quite some time,
yeah?
6 years.
Yeah,
7 years.
Yeah,
time flies.
Amazing. And people will probably wonder, like, how and why. And I remember, you speak about happiness today, which is amazing. What brought us together was my depression. You remember I was going through a rough time and you came into my life. You taught me a lot of things about mind and intellect and the difference and how we handle ourselves. And it was that, with along with all the studying that I was doing and just to understand who I am as an individual, how I was thinking, you were right there at the right time. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad of being of service to you.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure, and it's a friendship I cherish.
True. Same here. So I guess I'll go ahead and ask you the first question. So what is happiness and how does one experience it?
Right. Maya, happiness is everyone's original state. It is, when I say original state, you're happy, you're in your center, in your zone. Unhappiness is not our original state. Nobody says, I want a little more unhappiness, sorrow. That's not our original state. So number one, happiness is our origin. That is where we come from. That is where we belong to. Unhappiness is not our state. Another aspect is each one experiences happiness in different ways. I thought we will explore a little bit on how each one experiences happiness. One of the general ways is happiness is experienced by a person when they fulfill a desire. They had a long-standing desire.
True.
There could be a job, could be a partner, could be a child. When you fulfill a desire, there is happiness. This is a general experience. So many people are unhappy because many of their desires are unfulfilled. Another way experience of happiness is what we call a cessation of agitations or reduction of agitations. Why on a weekend when you go on a holiday, a short vacation, you seem to be a little more happier because the agitations you experience during the week on a weekend reduces because you're on a beach, you're in a beautiful place, you're having a meal with your family. So the second aspect is reduction of agitations. Whenever there is reduction of agitations or elimination of agitations, you feel happy. And another beautiful way a philosopher mentioned is happiness is an expression of fullness and freedom in the present moment. I love that statement. It's an experience of full, you feel complete, full, satisfied, and there is freedom. Meaning nobody has a say on your happiness. So that's why I say it's an expression of fullness and freedom. And another one is happiness is an internal phenomenon. Most people think it is external. My master is 98 years old.
Wow.
And, whatever I share, I learned from him. Like he gives a beautiful analogy. He says, one person picks up a cigarette, derives great pleasure from smoking. Another person detests cigarettes, smoking, can't stand cigarette. Cigarette being the same produces pleasure to one, pain to another. Another example, one person goes to a lawyer, wants to divorce his wife. And he asks the lawyer, how much you charge? He says, $10,000. How much time it takes? He says, 1 year. He says, look here, I'll give you $20,000. Can you make it 6 months?
Wow.
And there is another person willing to marry the same lady. A lady being the same produces joy to one, sorrow to another. Cigarette being the same produces pleasure to one, pain to another. Therefore, our suggestion or our analysis is happiness or pleasure is not in the object or in the person, is within. And there's a great German philosopher who makes a beautiful statement, author Schopenhauer. He says, it is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. He doesn't say it's easy. He says it is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it's impossible to find it anywhere else. Why I'm telling you is, most of us, or many of us, most of the time, we are trying to find happiness externally, outside. It seemed to be there. Once you get that, you want something else. Once you get that, you want something else. So, therefore, it is a chase which never ends. And that's why the moment you turn inward, I'm not saying, go after many other things, but when you turn inward and start working on yourself, you are happy in spite of everything. You're not, when you ask a person, hey, you're glowing, what's happening? They say, I'm happy because this has happened. Because that's going to happen. How many of us can claim I'm happy in spite of everything? I mean, I'm not saying things are difficult. I'm not saying you're happy. That doesn't alter your internal state of mind, happiness. I remember a little child when I met, she was beaming with joy. I said, hey, you look so happy. And what is the reason? And she turned around, very succinctly turned around. Uncle, do I need a reason to be happy? And it made me think, we all need reasons to be happy. And they say great thinkers or philosophers, they say they are childlike because they're very much in the moment. Many of us are childish. We seem to be all over the place.
But isn't it normal to have reasons to be happy? Because even the relationship between you and the Lord, oneself and the Lord, that's a reason to be happy. When you're in that moment of praying and connection and awareness, and you're thankful, there's always that human beings, in general, we have to have a hook.
Right.
To hook us.
Correct.
So this brings me, I guess, to the next question. And is it that we need a reason, or is it that there are levels of happiness?
Yes. There are levels of happiness and reasons as well. Initially, there are reasons. But I thought I wanted to ask you a question because you seem to have a lot of expertise in one particular subject, which is emotional intelligence.
True.
In this part of the world, if there is one authority on emotional intelligence, apart from the author, is Dr. Maya.
Alhamdulillah, thank
so
you.
You have studied it in detail.
Yeah.
Can you suggest how it can be implemented in our daily lives?
It's interesting because emotional intelligence is innate in each and every one of us. and we are brought and raised, and it is within our DNA to have emotional intelligence. And what happens is that emotional intelligence is instilled within us and taught without us knowing during the first 5 years of our lives.
Oh.
And it is actually within the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, for it to settle, it needs about 8 years of the first years of our lives. And the level of emotional intelligence, the higher it is instilled within us, the deeper the person you become. Because the first 8 years of our lives, where the subconscious mind is in creation and is being put, a lot of memories are just being pushed and shoved into it, whether it's bad or good. The more the good. And even if it was bad, the first 8 years of your life will determine who you become in the next 30 years. This goes to say that we have no say as we grow older.
Right.
We are just a mirror image of our parents. And so there's a big weight on how parents raise their children. And that is the level of emotional intelligence that they instill in us. And emotional intelligence, basically, so we kind of clear it out and we're able to define it. Emotional intelligence is how, and I think I've realized this as I've become more, because you study complex ideas, and I believe in philosophy. The simpler it is, the deeper and the more philosophical it becomes. And so emotional intelligence, the meaning is how do you act and become human.
Wow. That's deep.
Very. And it's more about understanding yourself, who you are as an individual, being able to handle it, being able to motivate yourself. Number 4, you create this best self to share with others. So you taking care of yourself first, handling yourself, motivating yourself to be able to manage people, understand people, and live.
Wow.
Because isn't that why we're all here? For a reason. And so it was almost, for me, I stumbled upon the notion emotional intelligence while I was in my depression. I went through depression for 5 years, and it was like 2 years into depression where I stumbled upon this notion. It was a 7-minute video, YouTube video. I'm very, by the way, audio visual.
Right.
So I appreciate podcasts that are, audio, but also I appreciate it when it's on YouTube, because that's how I get it.
Right.
So body language is a very big part of how I internalize and think.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a 7-minute video, and it just turned my life like upside down.
Wow.
And it became something that I used to understand who I am as an individual, and just understand why things are the way they are today.
Excellent.
So it's become more of a mission, and that's how I feel like my depression was the 5 years. Those the 5 years were the PhD before the PhD.
Right, I get it.
And believe it or not, the PhD that I did from Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University is amazing, but it's more academia. When I deal with people today in my sessions and consultation sessions, I kid you not, Shree, I depend on the 5 years before the PhD.
Right, which was the real learning.
And this goes to say that, whatever you do in academia is good. It gets you authenticated.
Right, correct.
Right? So you're able to speak from a level of like a pedestal.
Right.
A professional pedestal.
Correct.
But in fact, it's what you learn in your life.
Yes.
That helps others continue. And so from my PhD, I was able to train over 1,000 hours.
Wow.
And consult over 2,000 hours. I have 4 books. I'm a columnist in Sayyidati magazine, columnist in Al Khalij newspaper. And all I speak about is guiding long life learners, people like ourselves who have children.
Right.
To improve them, improve their emotional intelligence as parents, as individuals, as human beings, to be able to help their children.
Absolutely.
And then that's how the change happens. But it has to start somewhere.
Correct. And it is such a great responsibility. It's not just having children. It is more on the parent.
Right.
How do you set an example? How do you lead the way? I'm with you. I had a great parents and so much of love, laughter, joy in our life. And we thanks to them. Both my parents are not there, but what parents they were to us, so fabulous.
Can you imagine the level of awareness they had those days?
Correct.
For them to, I want to say this in a very subtle way, for them to make life lighter on you.
Correct. Absolutely. If I'm with you. If I'm light-hearted, it's because of the environment they created.
Absolutely.
My father was very light-hearted, a joyful person. When he comes home, he used to joke around, tease my mother, and we all used to look forward to
Discipline is there.
Yes.
Discipline
it was given.
is there.
Correct.
But the type of discipline, how you discipline,
Correct.
and the level of communication and level of the type of talks you have,
Yes.
and the interactions you have, and the engagement that you have with your parents, that's what differentiates some from others.
I'm with you. My parents, my father was soft but firm. And there was laughter, and as a result, there was transparency from our side to our parents. If we made a mistake before someone else could complain, we would go and admit it.
100%.
And it all went through well. So,
100%.
and as you mentioned, they were simple people.
Yeah.
They're not at all complicated, and fascinating. It's a blessing. For me, that I had such great parents. I wish everyone has like that.
We come back to this point where simplicity is key.
Yes.
So
Correct.
basically, life is that simple.
It is. My master used to say, simplify your life, you will amplify your joy. Complicate your life, you reduce your joy.
Well said. Very
Simplify your life. We're not talking about frugal. We're not suggesting being miserly here. You simplify your life.
But Shri, we all have, things that we deal with every day, and we have busy schedules and
Right.
appointments, and some of those meetings are stress related, and you have to deliver.
Correct.
And it was a tactic I learned, but sometimes it slips from me. I have to remind myself that everything will pass.
Correct. Everything will pass.
Will pass. Just take it one step at a time.
Absolutely.
You calm yourself down. It will calm down.
Even this shall pass away.
Oh, yeah.
There's a poem by Theodore Tilton, and he says, pain is hard to bear, but with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. And it's a beautiful, the king of Persia has a ring in that he has scripted, even this shall pass away. Anything happens, good or bad, even this shall pass away. It's not negative. It's a very objective way of thinking.
Sense. Patience day by day. Even this shall pass away.
There is a pain is hard to bear, but with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. What is life?
Beautiful.
And what is death? Life is done, but what is death? Even this shall pass away. And everything, he marries the most beautiful woman, and he says, mortal flesh has to come to clay. Even this shall pass away. So it's a beautiful, objective attitude we adopt, which will ensure uninterrupted happiness. It will help you to experience happiness in the present moment, and it helps you to take it further. So that's the best part. And so many learnings, even in this, your answer. We talk about intelligence. You spoke about your PhD, which you gained intelligence through a course.
Right.
But you also have that intellect where you went through the actual experience.
Yeah.
So that combination, I find a strong intellect, which is through your own experiences,
Right.
your value systems, and intelligence, which is gained through external sources, through a university, that put together makes it holistic.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is, what I find is many people have that intelligence part, but may not be that intellect part. So there's a disconnect. In fact, I keep highlighting, I've done 9,000 lectures now.
Wow.
And it's so different that life experiences plus what I learned from my masters put together, it's a beautiful thought process. I mean, thank you. That emotional intelligence appears something which we have to imbibe. And in your observation or suggestion, the first 8 years of a child's life, a lot of things, a lot of emotions are formed. And the sad part is not many children have a say. I mean, this is where the parents, the environment, everything leads to that aspect.
Yeah.
And I wish everyone has that environment which helps them. Now I'm getting into the question which you asked.
The levels?
The levels of happiness. I mean, this is something I observed. The basic level of happiness appears comfort. It is physical level, the material level. You experience comfort. Driving a small, what do you call, Nissan Sunny, and driving a Range Rover Sport, it gets you to your destination, but there's comfort. There's comfort. The view or the driving comforts are way better in certain objects. It's like, so the first level of happiness is comfort. You can even travel in economy, in a 16-hour flight, or you can travel in economy, but a first class is more comfortable.
True.
So first level of happiness is comfort. The second level of happiness is pleasure, physical level. And for some people, they need the morning coffee. It is. I have restricted it now. Meaning,
really,
at least as long as I can delay it. As long as I can delay it.
What do you do? Water.
Water.
Okay.
It is water, and then some there's a herbal tea which
right. Does it bring you pleasure? It doesn't.
It does. I mean, I wouldn't say pleasure, but the other way around.
Does it bring you happiness, Sri? It doesn't.
It doesn't. See, the other way.
That's the issue.
Correct. I don't want to get dependent on something for my pleasure. The whole aspect is.
But why would you? I mean, like.
See, it is more on the health aspect. They say.
But a cup of coffee a day. I don't know. I mean, see, I said it doesn't hurt you.
Correct. See, it doesn't.
It's not smoking. It's not drinking. It's.
For some people, it is. I'm not saying don't have it.
Right.
I come from South India where South Indian filter coffee.
Oh, wow.
It is something else. And I'm used to it, and I like making my own cup of coffee. And while having it, I used to glorify myself. Who made this coffee?
Oh, really?
The world's best coffee. And my wife will turn around and says, "What happened? Why you? Are you mad?" I make my coffee. I enjoy the coffee. I said, "This is the world's best coffee." And I said, then I wanted to reduce more than the pleasure. There's a certain level of dependency which is happening, and it does definitely. But during the day, when I know that, imagine I'm going to meet you in the afternoon, I know I'm going to have a coffee, then I say I'll have it at that time. In a delayed gratification.
I think what's, sorry to interrupt you, but it's interesting. I think what you're trying to do to yourself is discipline yourself, not to cling on to life.
Correct.
Because this is not the end.
Yes.
There's another end, and that end is infinity.
Yes.
Right.
Correct. I mean, that's why I enjoyed discussing with you, Maya.
Right.
You're very in depth. You're an old soul in a modern embodiment.
True. But But I absolutely believe in what you believe. But then again, we talk about the levels of happiness, and we say, when do you allow yourself to take that cup of coffee? When do you allow yourself?
See, you're right. That discipline. If you think, I'm not saying 2 coffees a day is fine.
Right. No, I mean coffee or anything else. We're talking about other
Correct,
issues as well.
Correct. Coffees, handbags.
Right.
It is clothing, and see, one aspect we got to look into is: are we a victim of instant pleasures?
Yeah, makes sense.
Instant pleasures. There's a beautiful statement in the scriptures. It says, "False happiness is nectar in the beginning and poison in the end."
Oh, nice.
This is false happiness. There is happiness. You can't say that. It's nectar in the beginning and poison in the end. True happiness is like poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end.
Makes sense. Yes, I agree.
This talks about your instant pleasures, your dependency, and your gratification. So nothing wrong with coffee. I'll have it when the whole thing is the coffee controlling me, or am I in control of the coffee?
I get it, yeah.
That's all. If you're in control of the coffee, I will have it anytime I want. If without coffee, I can't wake up, I can't. So then what happens? I've made myself dependent on an object. And my whole thing is it's not that I want to be independent. I don't want to be dependent on factors beyond my control. So this is it was a tough exercise because I enjoy making coffee. I select my coffee beans, but I said, okay, no, I'm 50 plus. It's time I work on myself in a different way. So this was the one. The second, first is comfort. Second is pleasure. The third is joys at the emotional level. I mean, I can only share my mother's experience. I like the badam halwa, which is a delicacy in Indian cuisine. My mother, when she goes for any wedding and all, they will be serving badam halwa in a cup. She will get that and give it to me. And I said, "Ma, why? No, you like it, you have it." When she sees me having it, she feels more joy. It is for her emotional joy. She can have it. The pleasure, she can have it. But for her to
feed you,
to see me having it, thank you so much. For her, that emotional joys is far greater. So it's greater than the pleasure. It's greater than the comfort. It is uncomfortable carrying it. It's so. The third level of happiness is joys at the emotion level. You can say whatever. The next higher than that is what I call as fulfillment at the intellectual level. You have an idea. You run a school and you want to implement an idea, and not many were in favor of it, but you thought this will help our students and the teachers. You implemented it, and the results are there to see.
Right.
Fulfillment. The fulfillment is higher than many things. It's an idea which not just it impacts a lot of people. The higher than that is bliss. What we call as you have a desire, and you worked on yourself and you transcended the desire. You're blissful because the desire no more controls you. You have transcended that desire.
For example,
I used to be a meat eater, or forget meat eater. It could be any
carnivore.
Or junk food. Forget why.
Right.
Junk food.
Junk is good, man. I swear.
Once in a way, junk is always.
Absolutely.
I love the French fries.
Hearty. Makes you feel good. There's such a strange correlation.
Yes.
With fatty food and feeling comfort.
Instant pleasure.
I swear.
Instant pleasure.
It's the best. Insane. Okay, continue.
See, a person had a desire for smoking, cigarettes, and various reasons. He rises above that cigarette. The desire for smoking. There is bliss, meaning there is no more. They are not influenced by that object. So bliss is You could be sitting with people who are smoking, or alcohol. You have transcended the desire. Once you have transcended the desire, there is unlimited happiness pertaining to it. The person could be sitting in a pub with his friends. He's meeting his friends, but there is no agitations. Oh, I think it's a 20-year-old single malt. I'm missing out on it. There's no such thought. So bliss is higher level. Because I remember when we went to Singapore, the Marina Sands Bay, and there's a casino. And our friends say, oh, you have to visit the casino. I said, I'm not interested, but you have to go there. Both myself and my wife went there. Both of us had $100 bill.
Okay.
And then 11 o'clock we are there. And I saw people, it was full. 11 a.m. in the morning, full. And people losing money and screaming and getting agitated. And there was no desire to earn any money there. I went there with the notion, we cut-off level is $100.
Okay.
We lost $100. But because there was we are about that desire of gambling, we are completely insulated from all that which happens.
Right.
So, comfort at the material level, pleasure at the physical level, joys at the emotional level, fulfillment at the intellectual level, bliss at the spiritual level. When you have all these levels of happiness, what you experience is a peaceful life. Peace. There is always peace is far above. Whatever is the physical aspect, the material aspect, you're comfortable. And then that peace, I put peace higher than everything else. At any point of time, we should be at peace with ourselves.
Where does sadness come in? So basically, we go through turmoil. We are in this dunya. We are not in heaven, and everything is. We are definitely made.
Right.
Made.
Yes.
To experience loss.
Right. Experience loss.
Loss.
Yes.
Because nothing lasts.
Correct.
So we lose. And how do you deal with loss? For you to be able to have those levels of happiness, it's not easy.
Yes. See,
it becomes I don't know, not just difficult.
You're right. I'm with you. Loss is very difficult to deal with, and number one, we are unprepared to deal with the loss. Let me share a personal example. Normally, I don't share it, but when I was studying at the Vedanta Academy under my master, Swami Parthasarthiji, my father passed away towards the last year of the course, third year of my course. It's a 3-year full-time residential course, 4 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
God bless his soul.
Yeah, it is. And I didn't meet my father 2.5 years prior to that. It was only through letters and telephone conversations. One early morning, he passed away of a massive heart attack, and my master called me and shared this loss. That he said, "This happened, that your father passed away." First, I was filled with the loss of that emotion, sadness, and suffering. Instantly, the gratitude came in, and I remember. I was with that. These are the things I learned, and when gratitude, meaning, I said no. I was grateful for the kind of father I had. What a man he was! Great example, a monumental blessing for us. And I just bowed down. I remember where my master was sitting. I just bowed down and looked up. I said, I wish my father was there for another 20, 25 years to see what I'll be doing. He'll be so happy and proud. But forever and ever grateful for the kind of father I had. And if I, in case, become a parent, if I'm 10, 20% of what you were to me, I've done a right job. So, I always say pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So, when your gratitude towards various sources is far greater, the loss can be managed. That's why I said gratitude is a mother of all virtues. And once gratitude,
True.
this is one aspect. So you have to become grateful, not to face any consequences.
So thankful is different than grateful.
Thankfulness is an expression of gratitude.
Right. Yeah, gratitude is deeper.
Deeper.
Gratitude is that you are, in Arabic we say rida, content.
Correct. In fact, to become grateful, there are two aspects, Maya. One is to be acutely aware of all that you've been receiving from the time you're born till the time you're there. You've been receiving oxygen, atmospheric pressure, the parents' blessings, the environment. We live in a city where so much of security is there. Just to register a site, here is Dr. Maya, 1 million operations takes place in the retina.
Subhanallah.
The digestive system functions
So true.
in spite. And so many factors. Heart is beating even before you're born. So many factors are there. Atmospheric pressure is maintained. So many factors are there, which is happening for you and me, for everyone, from the time you're born till the time you're there. To which you can, that awareness is very important. Acute awareness. That alone doesn't make us grateful. The second aspect, which is more important, your inability to repay that benevolence. I can't repay the benevolence of my parents. I can only, it is when I say it is
That's true. You can't
9
repay
months.
them.
You can never repay that benevolence. It is when my mother passed away, I had to do certain rituals for her. And that, the before she conceived you, what was her thoughts? The first month, what was her thoughts? The second month, what could have been her thoughts? He said, in one simple thought of my mother, I wouldn't be here. And it goes on, the way they explain. And moment she delivered you, that her obligation is done. I said, no, I remember doing that prayer. And all that I'm saying is, how can I repay the benevolence of my parents? I said, any gift you give your mother can never equal her gift to you, which is life.
So what you're saying is that understanding that you cannot repay them gives you gratitude?
The first is the awareness of all that you've been receiving. Second is your inability to repay that benevolence. So when you're acutely aware and you understand, I can't repay that benevolence.
So you have to be
Then
grateful.
The only way is to become grateful.
To be thankful to.
Yes.
Thankful, grateful to all the blessings that
Yes.
you've had in your life.
In fact.
And you've had without asking.
Correct. In fact, I think it is Prophet Muhammad who made this great statement.
Peace be upon him.
Peace upon him. Says, he's best amongst you who's best at repaying. He's best amongst you who's best at repaying. When I read that many years ago, I thought, I don't have a loan. I don't have a high purchase. I don't think I need anything. I don't owe anybody. But when you deeper understanding, so many things are happening. His best is, you can't repay, but the only thing you can develop is an attitude of gratitude for all that you've been given.
Right.
The attitude, let's say, who's best at repaying? Who has this attitude of gratitude? So, what I wanted to tell you was, it is difficult to deal with loss. It's like, we say, another aspect, you buy an insurance, fire insurance premium. You buy it, in case the factory is under trouble, you're protected. You have a car insurance. In case there is a accident, you're protected. You can't buy a policy, what you call motor car policy, when after the accident.
True.
So all that we are saying is, you pay a little bit, a small amount, so that you're protected. Similarly, if we start working on ourselves in smaller ways on a daily basis, I see you go for an exercise on a daily basis. You do it so that health is protected. On a mental health, especially after COVID, mental health is little inputs. You learn something on a daily basis, which expands your mind and intellect. And as a result, in case something happens, pain is hard to bear, but with patience day by day, even this shall pass away. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Because your gratitude to that source is far greater than your attachment to that source.
Pain is inevitable.
Pain is inevitable,
But
but suffering is optional.
That's nice.
We suffer more
Yeah.
in our minds. So, I mean, when this clarity and that maturity is there, you are able to deal with it in a much, much better way.
You know what I noticed, even through my sessions when I sit with couples and married husband and wife, give us a solution. Tell us something to do so that when we do it, we will be better. We will be able. It's all about awareness.
Correct.
There's no magical stick.
Correct.
There's no, you do this 3 times a day, you'll get it. It's not a pill. It's that, as you say it rightly and very specifically, acute awareness,
Yes.
not any awareness. Acute in the sense it's very specific.
Once that acute awareness is there, the thankfulness is an expression. Gratitude is an internal emotion you feel.
Right.
That's why I said, whenever I say thank you, if you say thank you, mean it. Don't just send a TQ. If you say thank you, it's a genuine expression. It has to be.
Yeah, here's a question for you. I'm not sticking to that. Ideas come.
Go ahead, please.
It's interesting because don't you think, when we say thank you, when you mean it, in the Quran it says, وَهَلْ جَزَاءَ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَّا الْإِحْسَانِ, as in, isn't goodness inevitably given back as goodness?
Right.
What about happiness? If you have that happiness within, here's a question. The question is, will happiness come back right at me? Like, is it a reflection?
I mean, not every time. Happiness, because as we discussed before, not everyone is happy for you. See, when does happiness come back? Or when you're happy for others' success.
Yeah.
I need to be happy for others' success and I have to be compassionate for their sufferings. So both, then not many are happy for others' success. In fact, they're jealous of others' success. And when they go through something, they are actually, the guy deserves it.
So what you're saying is that for you to have al-ihsan back, goodness back, happiness back right at you, and for you to light up, you need to be happy for others.
Yes. Genuinely happy for others' success, and you are...
So basically you're working on yourself.
Correct.
To improve your happiness within.
Correct.
But also within you will teach you to release materialistic ambitions.
Right.
Which sometimes you see them in people.
Right.
And so you begin to have jealousy.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So being able to be happy on your own without having to be dependent or even seeing others or what they're doing or what they're accomplishing is the most important type of happiness.
In a way.
And then that, and also an extension of that is that be happy for others.
Right.
Rather than being jealous.
Correct.
You're not supposed to be jealous anymore because you've let go, you've let's say surrendered, released
Correct.
those emotions, right?
Correct.
So for you to be able to be happy within, you also are happy for others,
Yes.
for who they are and what they've become and who they, what they have accomplished. Only that type of happiness will reflect
Absolutely.
on you.
Because that's self-sustaining. See, when you see another person successful, that acute awareness, he or she has done something right.
Of course.
To get to be in that position. So you are more inspired when you meet them. I said, I heard about this, you have achieved this, so happy and glad that you are in that position.
Right.
And see, then what happens? There are no competitors here. They will share, why don't you do this? This will help you. There is no jealousy here. There are those who are not happy for others' success. Oh, he has contacts, or he's got this connections, or something. A person. The problem is not many are happy for others' success. With that acute awareness we're talking about, when you're genuinely grateful, one more aspect I keep telling, express your gratitude, but do not expect gratitude.
That's so true.
Express your gratitude, but do not expect gratitude. I mean, I've done so much to them, and look what they're doing.
You know, it's easy to fall into that trap.
Yes, no, it is. Let's say, express.
Sometimes I fall into that trap because you're always giving, Sri, giving. Sometimes it becomes, a nuisance.
Correct. It is.
No appreciation. Nobody looks back at you. Nobody gives you back. It's almost like everybody's very selfish. Everybody's running in their own lives. So when do you stop, or do you stop?
I suggest not to stop, but become aware of selfishness in other people. The more selfish a person is, they are takers.
But that's hurtful. That
Correct.
makes you sad.
When I say the more selfish they are,
that makes you sad. You have the awareness
Yes.
of others. Like she's selfish, right? That makes me sad as an individual.
See, when I say it doesn't make me sad, but I become cautious. If a selfish person are takers, and they're in fact, when you stop giving, they get annoyed.
Okay, so here's the idea, because now you said awareness. So if they're selfish, be aware of them being selfish. But then wouldn't that stop you from giving?
Right. It's a great question. You're talking about expressing or doing acts of kindness, and people are not grateful. That's why I said one of the learning which I pertinently follow is expectations. Express gratitude, but don't expect gratitude.
Yeah, that makes
it's not
sense.
a downer, but people are too self-centered. They are in their own world. And the more you give to selfish people, the more they take. That doesn't mean you should not give, but all that understand. Takers may not be grateful. An unselfish person, they may receive and they'll be genuinely grateful. Thank you so much. In fact, such people will never forget
True.
what you have done. It is we may meet once in a way, but you remember so much we have discussed.
True.
So unselfish people, that awareness makes them more grateful. Selfless people, there's no ego at all. For them, gratitude and compassion is the way they function. So therefore, my suggestion to you is do whatever you have to do, but deal with your expectations carefully.
Nice.
Because it is the expectation which even reduces your goodness.
True.
You made a beautiful meal, invited 15 people. 7 people, they said, Maya, what a wonderful meal. Great it was. 2 people, PQ, they sent a WhatsApp. And the other 5 or 6, they didn't say anything. Now you say, my God, it was so much. I spent half a day, did that. That 5 people are off your list for the next dinner meeting. So watch out. Do whatever you have to do, but deal with your expectations. I've came to quite a few things about you, which is wonderful. You appear to be the first Emirati doctorate in e-educational leadership and emotional intelligence in the MENA region, which is quite an achievement.
Alhamdulillah.
Congratulations.
Blessed. Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
In this aspect, I want to ask you a question. How can one become an intelligent leader in the ever-changing technological, artificial intelligence world? What's your views on it?
That's why I researched emotional intelligence. I believe that the whole gist of life and living is accepting. For you to be able to accept change. If one is able to accept change, because change is inevitable. And I even say in Arabic that devil is not our enemy. Change is a worse enemy, because we refuse to move from one point to another. And even in awareness, which is, we spoke the whole time about, acute awareness. So it's not just awareness, it's very detailed, minuscule awareness, and being very targeted and changing how you think and feel about certain issues in the world. And for you to be able to deal with AI, it's inevitable. Actually, my PhD degree was all about skills for leaders of the sector in higher education. And it could be implemented on leaders around anywhere in the world. However, it's what skills do you need and competencies to deal with AI? And to deal with AI, at the end of the day, it's a tool.
Right.
Tools will get better, but human beings will only get more
Right.
in number.
Right.
Right? SubhanAllah, this is how we are.
Correct.
So everything is there for a reason. So how do we handle this group of intellects, right, brains,
Right.
and manage the change and have them work hand in hand or shoulder by shoulder
Right.
with AI? That needs emotional intelligence. And in emotional intelligence, the most important competency is adaptation.
Okay. Interesting.
How you adapt, which means how much can you change of your old self to become this new self and not lose your values,
Wonderful.
your traditions, your who you are as a human being, where you come from, your religion, your beliefs, your value system, your family. To be able to add on and not add everything on because some things just don't match.
Right.
They don't serve you
Right.
to become a better individual. But there's that, again, that ability to be aware of what is good for me. And yes, in the world of AI, it's inevitable. I mean, you have Meta and GPT, they're right there.
Correct.
Use them to help you,
Correct.
to improve, to push you forward as an individual, because we need each other at the end of the day.
Right. Correct.
No coincidences. So if this was a world that was supposed to be robotic rather than human beings, it would have happened.
Correct.
But God has a purpose for everything. And the fact that we're having how many babies a day, a second,
Right.
then there is a higher purpose for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it looks like the AI is, as you mentioned, it's inevitable. It's going to enhance the potential. The emotional intelligence has to be a little higher than the AI, what can offer, so that you can use it well.
In fact, sorry to interrupt. In fact, what's even higher than artificial intelligence and what emotional intelligence helps with is intuition. So intuition is the highest form of intelligence.
Wonderful.
And AI can never have that specific, distinct feature.
Right.
And that is your gut. And gut is God.
Wow.
And to have that growth in you that comes from all that we have said today, being able to surrender, being able to be happy internally, being able to be patient, being able to have awareness in pain and suffering and the importance of where you stand within them and understanding who you are as an individual, that will help you grow your intuition.
Wonderful. And everyone has the potential.
Everybody has intuition. It's the highest form of intelligence,
Right.
human intelligence.
Right.
However, we choose, again, not to tap into it. Or we are unaware that we have that gem.
What makes a person not access their intuition?
I don't know. I have a very interesting way of thinking of things. We in Islam we believe that if God loves you, He will put you through turmoil. And you ask the questions like, how does love interpret into hurt and pain? In fact, it's because He loves you. He through pain, He gives you awareness.
Correct.
Because we go back to the point of change. You don't change
Right.
unless you're uncomfortable.
Correct. Correct.
You don't improve unless there is a reason.
Correct.
Failure. So it's that type of pain that God gives you. You know, again, we're this is an imperfect world.
Correct.
And this is not heaven, right? So we're here for a test. So God gives you that test.
Correct.
Not in the God is the Almighty, not in the intention to put you through pain,
Right.
but into the intention to teach you
Right.
through pain,
Right.
which I learned a very important notion that I believe and I go by. Things don't happen to you, they happen through you.
Through you. Excellent. Excellent.
They happen through you.
Through you.
So if you have that, that acute awareness that you speak of, you have that. That's how you build intuition.
Wonderful.
So you know that everything doesn't happen haphazardly. Everything happens the right time with the right people, people come in for a reason. They come in, you see them for 10 minutes, but you might never see them again in your life. But they're there to give you a message.
Correct. Absolutely. And does conscience and intuition mean the same?
Conscience is, you mean conscious or conscience?
Conscience, that little bird.
Conscience, yeah, that little thing inside that makes you feel bad or guilty or,
It says it pushes you to do something right.
It pushes you to do something right. I believe that the cleaner the conscience, the higher the intuition.
Excellent.
So if you're able to, and the way you clear your conscience is, again, going back to the first point about emotional intelligence that I mentioned, how do you become a true human? So the clearer you are towards yourself and towards others, the clearer the conscience, and so the higher the intuition.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I remember reading a portion in Shakespeare's play, Hamlet, Polonius' advice to Leartus. The father is advising the son. And in that portion towards the end, he says, "To thine own self be true. It must follow night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man." He says, be true to yourself. Conscience and
I believe that, we go through so much and we learn so much, and you just, try to get the best self in your career, and you hit it and you get all these awards, and I went through that. And then at one point, and everybody would say, "I would like to introduce Maya Al-Hawari, Dr. Maya, so-and-so, 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 so-and-so." But then at one point, I just got tired of it. Like, it's not about me anymore.
Right.
It's about, that was gifted to me by God. Now it's about time to give back.
Fantastic.
Using those tools.
Excellent.
Using it. So that's how you become clearer. And not saying I'm the best, I'm still human, but it's like every day you strive to become better. To clear your intentions and clear your conscience and and I noticed that you begin to see in God's light. When your intuition is clear, you begin to see what others don't see.
Right.
You begin to see the types of people.
Wow.
Who's good, who's bad. It's not that you begin to judge, because you're aware. It's not judgment.
Correct.
You understand that this person is not that good is because he went through his own hurt and pain, and that he's angry. So you have also that level of awareness, but this person is hurting. That's why he's angry. So you begin to forgive, tolerate.
Wow. What a quality, forgiveness.
Yeah.
People struggle with it.
I believe that it's the most important. We talk about happiness today, but for you to have really true happiness and true gratitude, you need to have high tolerance and forgiveness, because it's what we ask from Allah, the Lord. Don't we all want forgiveness?
Correct. I'm big on that, meaning I'm an advocate of you got to forgive yourself and you have to forgive others.
Absolutely.
And when you let go of the hatred towards others, you can forgive others. When you let go of the guilt you have created towards yourself, you can forgive yourself. Number one. Number two, we all think we have a choice. You don't have a choice with forgiveness. Forgiveness is only choice.
True.
The more you delay the choice of being forgiving, you're postponing your peace. So there's another beautiful statement. Forgiveness is to set the prisoner free and to finally understand that the prisoner was none other than yourself.
Right.
So I'm glad. I'm glad that you're bringing it up, and you are a special person.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, sure. I think
this level of today we crack the code, acute awareness gives you the maturity.
Absolutely.
And that maturity gives you that vision, or when I say that perception, this person is hurting, this person is in the process of healing.
Yeah, you
and
without
understand. Judgment. There's no judgment here. It's just clarity and maturity.
Yeah. And just, it's just, addressing people.
Correct.
And trying to, when you meet somebody, try to be as tolerant, as forgiving,
right,
as kind,
right,
as less judgmental,
correct,
as possible.
Yes.
So that when you leave, you leave with a light heart.
Yes.
And continue.
Correct. In fact, one beautifully said, Maya, I said, anyone whom I meet, either when they leave, they should feel inspired, or there should be a laughter. Then there was a laughter, or there was a smile. There's some kind of a clarity. That's my thought. Anyone and everyone you meet, they are better because they met you.
True. That's nicely said. The other thing that I always think of, when you meet people every day, and I'm in touch with people every day. That's what I do.
Right.
I always make sure that I'm able to sleep at night. I make sure that every relationship I have, with any encounter I have, even with people I've never seen before, I make sure that they got the best service out of me as a human being.
Wow.
So that I don't have to look back every night and review what happened during the day. I'd rather be hurt than hurting others.
Fabulous. Wow. That's a compassionate soul.
I feel that, because I don't want to keep thinking about, you never know when you die. You never know when it ends.
Correct.
So every encounter you have,
correct,
make sure it's just clean.
Correct.
Or from your side. The words that you utter, correct, the feelings that you show, the giving that you give. If you have something to say it. Because it could be the last time you get a chance
correct,
to do anything.
I'm with you. I am with you very much. I mean, in simple terms, don't postpone the right acts, the good acts.
Give the goodness. Give it.
Give it.
Yeah.
Because why postpone and regret? I have met certain individuals, I wish I met them. It is, we can meet another time. It doesn't happen.
And I think it's this, for people who are like, then these people are, as you and I, myself, they're talking about too many, we're not perfect, and we don't live in a perfect world.
Right.
But it doesn't come like that.
Correct.
I wasn't like that. We change.
Correct.
Again.
Yes.
We change.
Correct.
So, but you, with social media and podcasts, we are together trying to help others raise their awareness so that they can decrease the suffering that we went through.
Right.
So take it from us and use it to your advantage.
Yes. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And you do the best that you can do.
Correct. There are 2-3 ways of learning. One, the best way, what you just mentioned, is through knowledge. Books, teachers, podcasts, you learn through knowledge. The second is to learn through others' experience. A person doesn't need to be an alcoholic or have to go through 5 failed relationships to understand I need to work on myself.
Yeah.
You learn through others' experience.
Absolutely.
The third one is to learn through your own experience, which you pay a price. At times you pay a price.
Absolutely. And you're bound to learn from yourself.
So if the proportion of learning through knowledge is higher and you learn from others' experience is also there,
Right.
then you can reduce the learning through your own experience. Certain things we have to learn through our own experience.
Certain things.
And the certain things we have to learn through our own experience. But if that proportion becomes lesser, then the proportion of you learning through knowledge and others' experience is more. The impact, you are better off. Otherwise, when we learn through our own experience, we pay a price.
Right.
Sometimes a heavy price. So I'm with you.
Right.
I mean, it is our notion is the mind and intellect, which the institution we have is helping people to learn through knowledge predominantly.
Right.
Or giving various examples where you learn through others' experience.
Right.
And the last one, we can't help it. Sometimes you have to learn through your own experience.
Of course. Risk.
Risk.
You have to take the risk.
See, sometimes it takes time and energy to come out of certain things. Your own experience.
Right.
So it is. That's our call, and it's been very satisfying to be of service to people. They say the conference of knowledge is the greatest gift, greatest level of charity. It is. I'm with you.
Alhamdulillah.
One of the question most people ask me is on contentment. I thought I want to share that aspect with you. Contentment is an effect. Contentment is possible when you have gratitude to the past, acceptance in the present, and aspiration for the future.
Nice.
I repeat, contentment is possible, is an experience a person goes through when there is gratitude to the past, acceptance in the present, and aspiration for the future.
Right.
Contentment doesn't mean that I have a 1-bedroom apartment, I'm very content, I don't need anything more, or I have a small car, that's enough. I mean, contentment is in connect with the past, present, and the future. It is at any point.
All three together.
All come together.
Right.
It is so when I process the past, it is with gratitude.
Right.
When I deal with the present, it is with acceptance. And there is future, there is an aspiration. We may want to impact 1 billion people. There's an aspiration, but when it comes to the past, there is absolute gratitude. For whatever happened and didn't happen, there is gratitude. And then when it comes to the present, there's a total acceptance, a powerful acceptance. So all put together creates contentment. And I wish all people experience it. I put contentment higher than many things in life. The highest level of happiness is contentment. What is the point in having everything? You're a multi-billionaire and your peace is in pieces. So my wish and suggestion to all our viewers, and make sure that there must be contentment at any point of time. Contentment. It is, let's say, gratitude, acceptance, and aspiration. You could be earning 50,000. You're content now. You want to earn 5 million. But when you're earning 50,000, you're content. When you're in a 2-bedroom apartment, you're content. You may want to own a villa or whatever position you're in. You're a sales manager, you're content. We want to become the CEO of the organization. So all aspects, what we highlight and genuinely wish and teach people is contentment. And I have a question for you. You're in the field of education. You're the chairman or the chairperson, I don't know what to, chairman of...
Chairperson or chairwoman.
Chairwoman.
Yeah.
Chairwoman of the Carmel School.
Yeah, Board of Governors at Dubai Carmel School, yeah.
Carmel School. And I want to ask you one question, which is, what do you consider pillars of education? What are the certain the pillars for education?
You can't have an educator that's not a giver. That's number one. Number two, you can't have an educator that's not godly. No, doesn't work. You can't have an educator that doesn't have a conscience. And you can't have an educator that doesn't have tools.
Right.
They have to have the knowledge, they have to have the subject expertise, right? Most importantly, they have to have emotional intelligence, number 5, to be able to handle all this.
Right, right.
Because when they walk in, it's not about them, it's about the learning. It's not for them. There is that certain fulfillment in I'm fulfilling my career, I'm fulfilling my aspirations. But I believe that being a teacher or being a doctor, medical doctor, I'm a teacher at the end of the day, professor, whatever, university teacher, right? There are certain professions where they deal with mankind straight up.
Wow.
Right? So teachers change and improve and help students to be aware, create a holistic perspective of life. And that's where they get their prime education to be able to become professionals in the future. So a teacher is the most, I believe, is the most holy,
Wow.
holy profession you can ever have
So
or
well
be,
put.
you know. It's because through you have the engineer, you have the medical doctor, it starts with you.
Right.
So if you don't have that perception in your heart and you believe in it and you don't come just to clock in and clock out and just to get that salary, which is important.
Right, right.
But there
right.
has to be this higher order intention
Right.
and purpose,
Excellent.
you know. And I just feel that subject matter and expertise is just one side of it. It's a very little side, but it's having everything else
Correct.
that makes it the difference.
And
That makes it
I'm
different.
glad a person running a school, education institution has this thought process, which is, I find education, it's a business for quite a few, but it is a very conscious business.
Of course.
Meaning you're grooming a generation. And I had great schooling. I'm not an A student at all, but I had great teachers. And I'm still, whenever I meet them, it is very different.
Right.
So I'm happy that you have this.
Alhamdulillah.
Thanks for sharing that. It's
No, of course.
I never expected that answer, to be honest.
Oh,
I
thank
thought I
you.
was expecting something scholastic.
No.
But this is something individualistic, right? Whatever you mentioned, the skill set is one. What you are mentioning is an attitude, is their own upbringing, is their unselfishness, giving nature. It is,
It's important that they are that way because, and even if they aren't that way, sometimes we were pushed. Like I was pushed to become an educator. I didn't choose it. I always knew I was a long life learner, professor, teacher, doctor. I never thought that I'll be somebody that's in the education sector starting KG, FS1 and all the way to year 13 or grade 12. I was pushed into it because my mom is a principal and she's the owner of the school and my dad is a medical doctor, and I'm the only daughter, so it was inevitable for me to be part of this family business, right? And it wasn't something that I was, interested in.
okay.
And in fact, it was because of them, when we talk about accepting, because through that, there's the best from God. God is good.
Right.
Everything you will get is good, even though it looks bad, in your opinion.
Right.
Right? Or it even looks bad socially, right? But God never gives you bad. God gives you good.
Correct.
So, subhanAllah is one of those things where it was because I listened to my dad and mom. I was a good child and a good daughter, and I paid attention to what they wanted and I followed what they wanted, and I had to be by my mom's side. They taught me leadership skills.
Wonderful.
And it was because of, I had it in me, but it was honed. So it was sharpened better. I learned so much about myself. I was an angry self.
Okay.
I didn't know how to handle it.
Wow.
When you are at a leadership position, you make that mistake, it's not like somebody that is little that makes a mistake.
Correct.
Your mistake is times 10.
Correct.
And the other issue was that I had to learn the job backwards.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
was never a teacher first. I was a leader first. So in a way, it was a blessing, but in a way, it could have become my curse.
Yes. Yes.
So I had to grow into that, and I learned so much. And then I worked for His Highness Sheikh Nahyan for 2 years. He has a school, and he wanted a principal, an Emirati principal. So I went with him and I worked for his school in higher colleges of technology for 2 years.
Okay.
And then it was then where I completed 10 years of education. And yes, the 8 years I spent with my mom saved me when I was under his leadership. So I got the skills, I used them. But then 10 years into all of this, I felt lost.
Really?
Yeah, I felt lost. And I wasn't sure if this is what I wanted in life. And I felt like I was pleasing them. But then what did I want? Who am I? And that was one of the main reasons why I went into depression.
My God. Okay.
And because of these 10 years, I was blessed with depression. And because of this I learned emotional intelligence. And because of this, I was able to do my PhD. And that's why I'm the person I am today. So I didn't choose me. It's God's will.
Fantastic.
So when you look at it, you begin to learn, moving forward, accept. Don't fight.
Correct.
Fight as much as you can,
Correct.
but fight in the right way.
Yes.
Push through, follow through the right things, do the right things. Learn from whatever messages are coming through you.
Right.
That builds your intuition, and because I have this, now I enjoy being an educator and a leader.
Excellent.
Because I'm able to lead others and help them early realize their best self.
Wonderful.
And that's why education to me is not just the curriculum.
Right.
It's really building
Characters.
characters, absolutely, and personalities, and teachers, the right teachers.
And right teachers, because what you mentioned with the first 8 years has an impact on your emotional intelligence. The next 8 or 10 years in the school has an impact on the next 30 years.
Absolutely.
So fabulous.
Yeah.
I
I have to thank my mom and my dad because I have gratitude to that past. But I also have gratitude and thanks to them now because they are my greatest cheerleaders and
Fantastic.
supporters. They believed that, yes, we pushed you at one point. Please go do your thing. So as I was working with my mom, I explored my interests other places. And that's when I found out that I'm somebody that is a leader that will help other leaders understand themselves better to lead better.
Excellent.
Because that's what I went through. And I find it very difficult sometimes. Not difficult, but I find it interesting. You talk about intuition and how you begin to see in God's light other people.
Right.
We have leaders that come to our school, and I meet leaders outside and in other institutions, and I can tell that they're very shallow.
I understand.
And they're very set in their own ways.
Like judgmental.
Very materialistic, and they don't get it. So in this situation, what I do, I don't fight it.
Excellent.
It's just, there's nothing to fight.
Correct. With whom?
With whom?
For what?
For what? Absolutely. They're in a different realm.
Correct.
So it's almost like you are vibrating. They're vibrating on this
Much lower,
wavelength.
yeah. Correct.
And you're all the way, not to say that I'm better,
No, correct.
but you're on a different, and I say higher just because you're more spiritual,
Correct. Absolutely.
you know, not because you're better,
I get it.
but you see what they don't see, and may God give them that
Correct.
light.
And in fact, there is compassion and there is let it be. Let them be.
Let them be.
Let them be.
You know, and even though you could be hurt by them, some decisions they make, you have to accept.
Correct.
But then only time will show the world
Correct.
who is right.
Absolutely. I am with you. What a conversation, Dr. Maya.
Oh, thank you.
You are different.
Oh,
That's what I
thank
can
you
say.
so much,
Different in the
Sri. So
sense that,
kind.
see, what you speak is from your experience and you express the truth. It's fascinating. And I have not met many women who are like you.
you.
This way of, there's genuinity, there is clarity, and there is refinement,
Thank
which is
you.
a fabulous combination.
Thank you.
I wish many more women are like you, with this kind of quality, because eventually women are the backbone of a society, of a family.
Absolutely.
It's essential, and I'm sure you are
And because the woman is the backbone of a society, I'm known on social media that I stand by the man. And I don't. People who don't see the bigger picture will get that idea. In fact, if a man doesn't feel supported by a woman, you, the woman, will not be the backbone of this society.
Correct. I'm with you.
It's a complicated but simple,
Yes. The family structure.
Analogy.
Yes, I'm perfectly.
It's all us women.
Yes. I mean,
But if the man doesn't feel good
correct.
in this family, in the society, and empowered by us women,
Yes.
he's not going to give you that space.
Correct. So there's so much there.
And I'm sure there are women
Yes.
that are like that. And this is what makes me, I'm an influencer on social media, and I try to create that awareness.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a happy family.
Yes.
And more happy families is a happy society. And a happy society is a happy city and a happy country.
Happy UAE.
And a happy world.
Absolutely.
And so the one couple at a time.
Yes.
One individual at a time and one couple at a time. Who knows? The world can be made a beautiful place. There's a beautiful saying now. Your mind in its own place can make a hell out of a heaven or a heaven out of a hell. So we're trying to make our mind like heaven.
True.
And in the process, happy people.
And that's the power of social media and YouTube.
Yeah.
You get to say the word once, and you hope for the best that it is distributed and heard
And forever.
by thousands, millions.
Thousands, yes.
Right?
I mean, genuinely, life can be beautiful. Life is difficult. I mean,
Right.
but it can be beautiful. It can be made right, made beautiful by the individual.
Right.
Emotional intelligence, the right values, education, all that. But it's such an honor and pleasure and an opportunity to have you in our podcast, and just a beginning of your own great journey as a leader. And I wish you many more accolades and positions, because you have that attitude of sharing, caring, and giving.
Thank you.
And which is special. And you have learned it through your own life experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in it.
Once again, thank you to you.